All right. Probably about 15 seconds or less. Somewhere around there. We'll get this party started. Here we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna, and welcome to today's morning mental workout. Today, we will be discussing one of the principles of real leadership: handle conflict when it occurs. On your own, go ahead and inhale and exhale 3 times, 3 deep cleansing breaths. Okay. A couple housekeeping, cleaning, guiding principles to take place. This is a online learning environment, so at this time, go ahead and get you some note-taking materials or materials out. I use physical ones, pen, paper, highlighter. You can use digital ones, whatever floats your boat, whatever helps you learn better. Go ahead and gather those note-taking materials at this time. You will also need a second device, as we will be looking at letters from Louise once we get to our cognitive activities for the day. How did we get here? Neurogenesis. Neurogenesis is the creation of new neurons in your brain. Neuroplasticity is the ability to wire neural pathways in your brain. You can rewire ones that you previously used, or you can wire new neural pathways. You put those together with personal accountability, and what you have is neuropability, and that is the brain's ability to wire itself to the 74 principles of real leadership, creating unlimited neural pathways in order for you to hold yourself personally accountable to become your best. Now, all of this takes place in the frontal lobe, and specifically the executive function of your brain, because that is the CEO of your brain. Without further ado, let's use the executive function of your brain. Handle conflict when it occurs. And what I've decided to do with the 74 principles of real leadership is to define each word in the principle so that you can understand the totality of the principle when you put those words together. So the definition of handle is this: manage a situation or problem. Manage a situation or problem. That is what handle means. So back in the day, I used to handle situations and problems with a bat and a tire iron. I don't do that anymore. I have more skills and more neural pathways, more neuropability, so I don't handle those situations in the way that I used to 30 years ago. Okay, conflict. Conflict. This is an expanded definition, and I did an extensive search in about 5 minutes and had to put several things together to get to the point of getting the full meaning of conflict for this principle of real leadership. And conflict, it is a serious disagreement, an argument about something important. A serious disagreement and argument about something important, and a disagreement that causes friction, and a disagreement that causes friction. So it's when one party needs to feel that the other party's point of view will have negative effects on the outcome. That's that extended part that you're not really thinking about, but you feel it. So it's when one party needs to feel that the other's point of view will have a negative effect on the outcome. If we do what you want to do, it's going to be a problem. That's why we got conflict. Nah, I don't want to do that. Fuck you. We're doing it my way. So now you have this big, giant issue taking place. Now, the when is at or during that time. When. So it's occurring at that time. It is used to refer to a thing previously mentioned. So it is used to refer to a thing that is previously mentioned. So when we say handle conflict when it occurs, conflict is the it. And then occur. Exist or be found to be present in a place or under a particular set of conditions. It exists or be found to be present in a place or under a particular set of conditions. So handle conflict when it occurs. When there is an argument, a problem, a situation, a disagreement, and people are saying this is going to have a negative consequence if we use what you're saying. And no, fuck you. We do. That's a conflict. And I like to say conflicts start out as a match. If you think about a match, you light it, you can blow it out. Even with a lighter, you can blow it out. If you have a gas stove, you can blow it out. If you have a fire pit, you put the lid on top of it. Once it starts getting out of those type of contained situations, now you might need a fire extinguisher. Now you might need a water hose. Now you might need emergency responders to show up. Now you might have to just let the whole thing burn down and then just get the ashes and fix it. But when it's a match, it's the best time. When it's a match, this is the best time for you to handle that conflict when it occurs. That is the best time. Okay? When it occurs, immediately. As soon as you are made aware of it, that's when you need to handle conflict when it occurs. But why? Why does it occur? And why is it so difficult for people to handle conflict when it occurs? Well, first of all, what questions do you have about the definition of handle conflict when it occurs? Any questions at all about the definition before we move on? And if you are just joining, you need a secondary device and note-taking materials if you're watching on the replay. The second device currently is for you to be on the website, theturnarounddoctor.com. Go to the 74 Principles of Real Leadership. Scroll down to the second section, which is effective, and we are on number 8, handle conflict. Okay, doesn't appear that you have any questions, so I will move on. So why does conflict occur? Conflict occurs when two or more groups or individuals interacting in the same situation see the situation differently. Good morning, Regina. Conflict occurs when two or more groups or individuals interacting in the same situation see the situation differently. So you see the situation. You're both one or more groups, two individuals or two or more individuals are in the same situation, and y'all are interacting and you see the situation differently. That's how conflict occurs. Sounds pretty simple, right? Seems like, oh, okay. If you just look at it on paper, all right, we're interacting and we don't see the situation the same. All right. So I'm going to review the 5 main causes of conflict, and this came from the Vinlenderer law firm. So vinlendererlaw.com. The article title is The 5 Main Causes of Conflict, and it is VILENDRERLAW.com if you want to look this article up. It's the 5 main causes of conflict. I didn't know that there were 5 main causes of conflict, so I already learned something this morning, and it's only 5:37 for me. But here are the 5, and of course, a law firm will be able to tell you which kind it is, because they can be a mediator and arbitrator. So that's why it was on their website. But it was the best, most logical, without the touchy-feely emotional aspects of it, which is why I selected it to present this information to you this morning. So the 5 main causes of conflict. Number 1, information conflict. Information conflict. When people have different or insufficient info or disagree over what data is relevant. Information conflict. When people have different or insufficient info or disagree over what data is relevant. I had this happen to me multiple times at Frito-Lay. I'm a Taurus. Math is my strong suit. The number is the number. And whenever it's time to report numbers higher up, especially if you got to have a face-to-face or at that point it was a conference call, I'm sure they're doing Zoom by now. And if you got parentheses, negative parentheses means negative numbers. So the numbers are the numbers. And plenty of times, so you have the meeting before the meeting before the meeting before the meeting. So in one of those 2 pre-meetings, I'm saying, well, these are the numbers, da, da, da. And they're saying, nope, don't say that number. But that's the number we're supposed to be reporting today. Nah, that number has parentheses. Skip it and go to the other number. What you want me to do if they ask about the parentheses number? Tell them that number is still being worked out. You don't have all the data for that. But I do. It's negative. it's bad. It's red. It's red and it's bad. Okay, cool. So we got what data are we going to use? Oh, you don't need to be on the call. Got it. Thank you so much. So it's part of the reason why I left. I'm like, yeah, I'm not fudging no numbers. We're not doing that. Okay, y'all can, but because I'm the only one that look like me in the room, shit go left. I'm the first one leaving, so I'm good. Y'all go ahead and have this. All right, number 2, values conflict. So when people have perceived or actual incompatible belief systems, as I just mentioned, when a person or group tries to impose its values on others or claims exclusive rights to a set of values, a dispute arises. I'm going to say that again. So when people have a perceived or actual incompatible belief system, or when a person or group tries to impose its values on others, or claims exclusive rights to a set of values, a dispute will arise. Happened to me in corporate America. And this is how I believe everything should be. I say this all the time. I believe in a higher power. I believe in the universe. I believe in God. I have never told you that you need to believe in one. In fact, we had somebody who was an agnostic. My Uncle Jerry is an agnostic, has some atheists that I've come across in my lifetime. I have never said you need to believe in God. I have said that I got to and through life with the belief in a higher power. I am not imposing that belief on you at all. Even if you go to Al-Anon, they say higher power, and people say I have a hard time with this. Okay, cool. Let's continue to move on. You'll get there when you get there, or you may never get there. But imposing your beliefs. I don't drink. Kevin loves to make wine. He drinks bourbon. I've not said you an alcoholic and you shouldn't be drinking. That's the devil's water. Because I know that people can drink responsibly. I just know I'm not related. I I know the people in my family can't drink responsibly, so they shouldn't be drinking because they a problem. But bon appetit. I used to go to my Toastmaster meeting once a month. Everybody drank responsibly. The other spouse drove the other spouse home. It was a very calm existence. So I am not saying that. I don't eat pork. I'm not telling other people, you better not eat that stuff, swines. And it's a choice I made way back in 1991. It's nothing to do with anybody else at all. So that's how I know I'm not imposing my beliefs on you. The 74 principles of real leadership are not beliefs, they're behavioral, they're neurological. But when people push their values on you and you don't want them on you, you're going to have some conflict. That's where we're going to have a problem. These are my values. Well, you need to be a Christian. And not only that, but you need to be Kojic. What you mean you're Episcopalian, you're Presbyterian, y'all that my Jesus said it, my Bible says it. Not conflict. Okay? Values is going to always be. Throw some religion and some politics at the dinner table, it's going to be a problem. For real, for real. The next one is interest conflicts. So this is caused by competition, interest conflicts, caused by competition over perceived or actual incompatible needs. Such conflict may occur over issues of money, resources, or time. Parties often mistakenly believe that in order to satisfy their own needs, those of the opponent must be sacrificed. Interest conflict caused by competition over perceived or actual incompatible needs. Such conflict may occur over issues of money, resources, or time. Parties often mistakenly believe that in order to satisfy their own needs, those of their opponents must be sacrificed. Anybody ever try to get promoted at work? If you manage money at your job, trying to get the money to do the right thing can be a problem. Trying to get something done, waste of time. Meaningless meetings. I have videos about it and a blog about it. All of these meetings wasting our time because of competition. Well, I need to say my chat. Yeah, chat. So the numbers say right here, if we're looking at our indirects in our 50371, we're positive planned by 37%. Yeah, we're projected by period 13 to be above plan. So just in time for our bonuses, and we're gonna make sure, yeah. And then when Bob Crane's coming, we're doing the BPP. Yeah. All right, back to you, Jim. Nobody's ever been on a conference call like that. Just me. Money. And I'm like, I knew I was leaving when Indra Nui took her whole team to Davos and spent $500,000, and they wanted me to cut 4 part-timers hours from 32 hours to $28 to save the company money. Nope. I need them. I'm not going to do that. You need them? Yep, I sure do. I do. I need all, because, we're short. Remember, I fired 4 people, so everybody's working overtime right now. Okay. So conflicts occur for money, resources, or time, and you're going to have to sacrifice some shit. So I needed to sacrifice my employees 4 hours per part-timer to save the company money, but it made sense to take the whole leadership team to Davos, the World Economic Summit, on the company jet for a week. That made sense. No, it was a conflict. All right, number 4, relationship conflicts. Okay, this occurs when there are misperceptions, strong negative emotions, or poor communication. One person may distrust the other and believe that the other person's actions are motivated by malice or an intent to harm the other. Relationship conflicts occurs when there are misperceptions, strong negative emotions, or poor communication. One person may distrust the other and believe that the other person's actions are motivated by malice or an intent to harm the other. My marriage. My marriage. I did not trust my ex-husband once he started cheating, and so we was having conflicts. And I believe that his intent was to spend all my money, leave me destitute with a baby, homeless, sitting outside with nothing. That's what I believe, and I'm taking that to the grave. I don't have anything contrary to that. You let somebody say, the court say $50 a month for child support, and you are 18, 17 years behind on $50 a month child support, yeah, you are trying to be malicious and have misperceptions and strong negative emotions. We have poor communications, so you is a problem. But a problem, no more. Best thing I could, when Nola turned 18, first thing I did was block him on social media. I was like, I do not have to deal with you anymore. And oh, by the way, if you have children under the age of 16 and you are divorced and the spouse is not dead, you have to get the spouse's permission to get the child a doggone passport to make sure that you are not trying to flee the country with the child. So yeah, as soon as she turned 18, done. Block, never have to interact with you ever again. So that's relationship conflict. And then the final one, number 5, structural conflicts. They are caused by oppressive behaviors exerted on others' limited resources or opportunities, as well as organizational structures, often to promote conflict as well. So structural conflicts are caused by oppressive behaviors exerted on others, and it limits the resources or their opportunities, as well as organizational structures often promote conflict. Okay, so here's an example. I talked about the story when we were all sitting in the cubicle. I used to call it the land of the cubicles. So we're all sitting there. It's 8 of us waiting on Larry, who retired and came back and was waiting on him to retire again. And we're all imagining we can be on first shift. And I said, it's only one Larry in this 8 of us. 7 of us are still going to be sitting in this cubicle when Larry retires. I'm going to the warehouse. And I know my career is probably going to die over there, but I got to take matters into my own hand. So that oppressiveness is limited resource. So now we got structural conflict. People going to start beefing and fighting and infighting and everything else. So that when Larry retires again, we can get that job. We can get that. This is, it's only 2. That's scarcity. Love to create scarcity in the marketplace. And that's why Vegas didn't have this large population of a middle class and an upper middle class 5 years ago. And so we have watched. This is the first time I've lived somewhere almost like a small town. The strip is separate than everybody else lives. It lives a normal existence. And now this influx of middle class has shown up. So the driving is faster and people are rude and pushing you in the store. Well, they ain't pushing us, but moving in the store, and all of these things are happening. It's all this aggression on the road. And I was explaining to Nola, because she learned how to drive during COVID. Well, nobody on the road then. And it's been getting worse and worse. And the roundabouts, you're supposed to give so many roundabouts where we live. And you're supposed to yield and then go through. You got all these people just zooming through. And even where we live, it's all these office complexes now. And they weren't filled. And now they are. So we have this influx of people coming out here to go to work and then leaving and going back and dropping kids off at school. So it's all this mayhem. And she was just like, why is it? And I said, because of the competition. Your children are in sports. They're in competition at work, fighting for these promotions, trying to move out into this area and other areas and bidding on houses and all these other things. And so there's this conflict because there's this oppressive behavior. There can only be one SVP. There can only be one RVP. There can only be three ZOMs. There can only be three directors of security of the blah, blah, blah. And so you feel that. And then, good morning, Lola. And on the team, we have these, baseball is huge here in Las Vegas. And they literally have these teams, and Nola's going to correct me. But I don't think you have to audition, but you have to, some type of stat you have to even apply to get on the baseball teams, on these travel teams that are extremely expensive just because the competition is so high. And so that creates this conflict of, I'm going to get it. You're not going to get it. My kid is better than yours. We got 4 private schools. The elite private schools are by us and fighting to get in because it's a limited to student to teacher ratio. And we feel all of that because before it was just, stay at home moms dropping their kids off at school. And that was it. We just had this peaceful, calm existence. And now here comes this group of nothing but competition. And so it creates this structure. It's a structural change. Just be able to just walk, and it was calm and quiet and it's noisy. And now because of that, there's more, you've probably heard it, there's more sirens going off because there's more traffic accidents. They had to have more police added because the population increased. So structurally, we now experience all of this conflict. Those are the 5 main causes of conflict: information conflict, values conflict, interest conflicts, relationship conflicts, and structural conflicts. What questions do you have about the 5 main causes of conflict? I am evaluations, and then the teams hold, right. So the baseball teams hold a draft, and it starts it's an evaluation. And then the teams hold a draft starting at the age of 7 for baseball. Is that much competition that you have an evaluations and they hold a draft for youth baseball, and it starts at age 7. So just like, okay, got it. So it's a very much conflictual. The structure is changing. So it's good for her business, but when I just liked it when it was peaceful. We could just go for a walk on the trail, and now there are people. There's so many more people. This group is an exercising group, so that because of their schedule, there's always somebody somewhere. It's very limited time now where there's just peace and quiet. Then you either have to go to the younger team or be put on the wait list. Right. So if you don't make that team, you got to go to the younger team and be put on the wait list. And it's soccer, it's all of it. Just very structurally conflictual at this point. I'm glad Nola's grown. Okay. So how to handle conflict when it occurs. That's so early to begin the intense headset for children in baseball. Wow. I hope kids are having fun. They are not. They are not having fun, Regina. And Nola and I talked about that. And what Nola we mentioned yesterday is that these torn ACLs that would happen like 10 years into the professional league, basketball, football, children are getting them in middle school and high school because of starting. So if you start playing at 7, you definitely can tear your ACL by 17. Not only that, but it's year round. Soccer is year round. All these sports, you go from football to flag football to spring practice to fall, summer practice. And so the wear and tear on your body is just incomprehensible. And what I'm drawing it to is soldiers. So if you're a soldier, you're 20, 30 years in the military, that PT every day, you see soldiers all bent all over and everything. That's what it's reminding me of, because it is getting all the way down to the elementary level. And the body can't handle that year round with no recovery. And they have practice 6 days a week and trainers and food prep and all these other things. So no, they are not enjoying it. Some start as early as 3 and 4 with these sports. So you got them serious. Yeah, so it's bad. So they've all moved here, and sports are year round because it's warm, and that's that conflict that we have. Okay, so handle conflict when it occurs. In my book, I say you have several options when confronted with conflict. Run. It's number 1. Conflict. Let me get out of here. Number 2, you avoid it. Number 3, you stand firm and you lash out. You say, oh, you ain't about to hijack my amygdala. I'm going to take your ass down. Or you compromise, depending on who the conflict is with. They say happy life, happy wife, happy life. So you're like, whatever, got it. Or the winner chicken dinner answer is to collaborate. So the focus has to shift from fight, flight, freeze, appease to resolving. To resolving, fix it for good. That's what happens. Now, the one thing that I will say is that conflict is an indication that something needs to change. That's what it is. It's like a doorbell. Doo-doo. Hello, who is it? Hey, it's conflict. How you doing? Come on out, because we got a problem here. It is, and I say anger means something needs to change, because by the time you're having a conflict, somebody is pissed off. So anger is simply an indication something needs to change. People say, oh, you shouldn't feel angry. Yes, you should, because that is the gut saying, listen, damn it, I was quiet, but now I'm not. This needs to change. This needs to change, because now I'm pissed off. And not from an amygdala hijack perspective, from an actual, this is an actual factually based problem. It's not a false positive. It's not, I'm emotional. It's a problem that needs to be resolved. So that's that. So you want to collaborate. So the several options occur with conflict. Number one, you can run. Number two, you can avoid it. Number three, you can stand firm and lash out and have a hijacked amygdala fight to the finish. Finish on. You can compromise, which means all parties walk away pissed because nobody really got what they wanted. Or you can collaborate and you can strive for win-win, which is ideal. Okay, so how can you do that? Glad you asked. When you collaborate, you strive for win-win. Number one, you need to be in a neutral environment. And why do you need to be in a neutral environment? Because what happens in a neutral environment? Neurogenesis. It starts. Then you can get to an enriched environment. So if you are in a toxic environment, you are not going to create neurogenesis, and you are not going to start developing neuroplasticity. You're not going to be able to do neuropability. So you can't be in the situation where the conflict occurs. You can't be in that environment. It's not going to happen. So you need to be in a neutral environment. You need to have a facilitator. Even if it's just two people, one person has to decide who's going to facilitate this back and forth. If you can have a third party present, have a third party present, neutral person. But if you can't, it's just you, spouse, child, whatever. You both have to be calm. So no hijacked amygdala. Everybody needs to be in their frontal lobe for any of this to work. Now you're going to establish some ground rules. We learned this at Frito-Lay. We used to have our team meetings. The ground rules are one person speaks at a time. Each person has 2 minutes to talk. So you all develop the ground rules. You can post them somewhere, text them to each other, and make sure, hey, you're going to agree to the ground rules. I'm going to agree to the ground rules. Got it. Now, after that, you give all persons involved time to express their perspective. Just to say, yeah, so you told me I need to follow God. No, listen, I'm saying it. Just let them go ahead and vent. Get it out. Get it out. We used to call it a bitch session when I was at basic training. Get it out. Because if those feelings don't come out, you are not going to be able to collaborate. So let the person do, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? And then we're going to get to how this can be better. And then when you said, and this ain't fair, everybody gets 2-5 minutes, however long it takes, time that you agreed upon in the ground rules. Because sometimes people just want to be heard in a conflict. So there you go. And the person has to keep it on themselves. They can't be saying, and this. They can say what took place, and this is how that made me feel. But when they start saying, yo, bitch ass, and this motherfucker right here, and all of that, it's not going to work. Okay? So they got to be personally accountable for how they feel in that situation. And then you're going to assess what type of conflict is taking place. So is it information? Is it values? Is it interest? Is it relationship? Or is it structural? And now that you know which one it is, now you know exactly what you're talking about. I have a 60-second strategy that talks about Apple. And it's basically used because what's the first thought that comes to your mind when I say Apple? Now, if it's Apple season, then I'm going to be thinking about the Lucy Glows that only show up for 2 months in the fall as sprouts. You could be talking about Apple the computer. You could be talking about Granny Smith apples. You could be talking about apple pie or some type of apple tart dessert. So everybody has to get on the same page to know exactly what you're talking about. That's why you identify which conflict it actually is. So now we're saying it's structural. Now we're saying it's relationship. Now we're saying it's values-based. Okay, cool. Got it. And it might be a combination of several of them, but you need to know which ones you are addressing. Now, after that, you're going to collectively develop action plans or strategies to resolve the conflict. Collectively. Okay? We are talking about relationships. All right, cool. How are we going to solve this going forward? That's how we do this. The best way to get this conflict resolved. And then remember that it's win-win. That's the best outcome. That's why you collaborate. If you compromise, somebody's going to be pissed because they didn't get everything that they wanted. Well, we didn't get everything we wanted, but we got this. No, there is a way that you can collaborate for win-win. And I know that once you identify where the conflict actually is, that you will be able to then have a solution or resolution that works for all parties involved. And sometimes that may mean the relationship needs to be severed. I had to leave Frito Lay. Did it go against my values? It was affecting my health and everything else. And it's boring. At the end of the day, the shit was chips on a truck. It's not the sexiest job in the world. I don't care how much you pay. My brain, y'all know how very vast my brain. Because I mean, 15 years ago it wasn't this advanced, but it was still pretty advanced for that. I was like, this shit is rudimentary. I can't keep lying to myself every day coming in here trying to make it seem like this got value. This ain't even a fucking food group. I can't be like, well, it's eggs. Everybody needs eggs. I'm like, it's salty snacks. It's manufactured. The only thing that's real is the corn and the potatoes. Everything else is added. I can't tell myself, but economic development, not like, yeah, we got some other ways that people could make money and still add value to the world. This ain't it. So anyway, that might mean that the relationship is separate. That means that everybody walks away, and that's a win-win, because what you don't have to do is contend with other people whose values aren't aligned with yours. I don't talk to my parents anymore because of my values. It wasn't a cultural fit. Boom, we kept having conflict, and as soon as I said I'm done, guess what? Ain't no more conflict. And that's the other issue, is that sometimes you don't want it to be over. Well, I just want you to act right. That person is not. They're not. I see mother-daughter duos just like myself all the time. That's just not the relationship that I have with Donna. So no big deal. Time to move on. Again, to review, when you collaborate, so when you're handling conflict, you are collaborating to resolve it. And how you do that is you set up a neutral environment, you have a facilitator, you establish ground rules, you give all the people involved time to express their perspective. Number 5, you assess which type of conflict is taking place. Number 6, you collectively develop action plans or strategies to resolve the conflict, to fix it for good. And then number 7, you collaborate in a win-win. Collaboration is a win-win result, and it is the best outcome. I always say, what's the best way? Be the best is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So what is the best way to resolve this conflict? And if it means that parties disperse and sever relationships, I needed to lead an urban chamber, no big deal. They wanted to operate the way they wanted to operate, and I wanted to be the best. So, hey, I'm out. Y'all do that. I'm about to take my butt back to where I live. Okay, what questions do you have about how to handle conflict when it occurs? Again, if you hear the buzzing in the background, it is them cutting the grass at the golf course. I swear there's no other hole on this golf course. It's 27 holes, and everything happens at this one. The first one, again, is a neutral environment. So be in a neutral environment when you are handling the conflict. After it's over, everybody calms down. Neutral environment, not a public environment. Don't go to Starbucks. Hey, motherfucker, I said. Don't do that. A neutral private environment. Remember, reprimand privately, reward openly. Those are publicly. Those are 2 principles of real leadership. How do you suggest getting emotional people to collaborate? Well, first of all, Regina, I don't know if I ever sent you the feelings PDF and the system that we use. So because Nola has ADHD and ADD 2 years ago, might even be 3 at this point, we located a feelings PDF online. And so twice a day, 8 a.m., 8 p.m., was to sit down and I would just ask her how she's feeling. And so she would look on the sheet, pick a feeling, and then assess the feeling, and then we do something about it. So that system is there because people, just like you're finding with these words that have alternate meanings, that's why I give you the definition of them, is that people don't know how many feelings exist. And so when you have ADD and ADHD, you're either angry or calm, and there is no in between. But there's 50 shades of feelings in between angry and calm. So that person has to have the environment to feel free to express themselves. So that process is, what am I feeling? You assess it, look at the list, and then you say, well, why am I feeling this? And now you have to go within. Root cause analysis says ask why 5 times. And then the third step to that system is, what am I going to do about it? So if it's a one-off feeling, like you're at vacation and you didn't feel like getting up, but you haven't had housekeeping in 3 days, so now you got to get up, let housekeeping come and clean the room. That's a one-off. So there's nothing, just like, I feel tired. Oh, housekeeping got to come. Okay, I'm on vacation. Let's go to the pool. But if it's something that continues to occur, for example, all of these people moving to Las Vegas, so we have to now leave sooner to get to places that used to take us maybe 15, 20 minutes to get, depending on the time of day of the appointment, we might have to leave 45 minutes early. We now have to decide, are we taking the highways or are we taking the streets? There are several streets that we can just go down. Desert Inn was one of them that nobody knew about. Now they knew about it, so now we have to take Russell. We could take Alta, some other streets. But now, because of the intensity of all these other middle class people moving in, and there's nothing wrong with middle class people, we just noticed it because of their schedules are so on at the same time. It's just more people everywhere at the same time. And because NOLA gets booked by those same people, we ended up having to be in rush hour traffic, going and coming. Vegas used to be 24 hours, and so it was less people on the road because it was spread over 24 hours. So we had to develop strategies. It makes you feel angry and stressed. You white knuckling it while you're driving. So what's the best way to do it? And sometimes we just leave sooner, take longer, and take a street, but it's a calmer route. So that would be an example. We are feeling, what are we feeling? Angry. Why are we angry? Because there's all these people on the road that weren't here. What are we going to do about it? Now we have alternate routes and we adjust our times and sometimes adjust the schedule if that is possible. Okay. And Kevin, you had a question, or did you, because you have a question mark? Or did I answer your question with what was the first one again? And Regina, please let me know if I answered your question. So you want to give them the feelings PDF and support them talking about their feelings when they're not angry or pissed off or emotional. Yes, so you actually do it when the person isn't technically having a feeling per se. And what it does is it creates a new neural pathway. It creates a new neural pathway to start talking about your feelings throughout the day, because you have feelings. And I've said this, and I don't know if I've said this on this live, but think of feelings as a dashboard on a car. Okay, got it, Kevin. Think of feelings as a dashboard on a car. When you have a car, the air, the thing comes on for the tire pressure. You need an oil change. You check engine light. Nobody wants to see that. If your fluids are low, then it notifies you and you go, oh, I need to put some washer fluid in there. Well, feelings are the same way. If you're hungry, that's a feeling. So if you think of feelings as a dashboard, I'm like, Nola and I are very sleepy. So right now on our feelings dashboard, we have a picture of somebody sleeping. If you're thirsty, water drop is going to show up. If you are angry, you go to like this to show up. If you're a little lethargic, so you're like, oh, God, I'm dizzy. Or if you're confused, the confusion button will show up. So when you think of that, feelings just came, they're notifications that something is taking place. And once you put the washer fluid in, you take a nap, you eat a meal, the light goes back off. The notification goes away. So that's the same thing with feelings. They're just there to let you know, they're an indicator something is taking place. That's that. That's why people need to be talking about their feelings throughout the day, and not just when it gets to the negative feelings. But you're like, man, I'm so happy today. It's going to be a great day. I feel great right now. That's how that goes. All right, so at this point, go ahead and go to the turnarounddoctor.com. If you're not already there, you want to go to the social media tab. And from there, social media page tab. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. The third one from the bottom is Letters from Louise. And what you want to do is tap on that, select it if you are on a computer, and you're going to be scrolling and scrolling. Okay, there we go. It's like, what's wrong with the scroll? And you will be reading clearer today. So letters, the turnarounddoctor.com, social media tab, Letters from Louise, third up from the bottom. And you are going to scroll and scroll and scroll until you get to the poem that is titled Clear. And then once you finish reading Clear, you're going to do a ... and then that'll let me know that you're finished reading and you are now typing what you discovered, your aha moments, your reflections, your takeaways, whatever comes up for you. It's all good. It's your brain, and you take away whatever it is that you need to take away. Okay, Virginia, give me 1 second. All right. Regina said, I'm confused. I'm confused. Love the great adjectives, but I'm definitely not clear. Done in the A to Z order proves that there can be clarity in all things. What is the article? I swear it always does that. It's clear. Letters from Louise, and it's clear. So are you confused by the poem, Regina, or you're confused? You're saying you're definitely not clear based upon the poem saying all the different ways to be clear. And then Kevin Dunn in A through Z order proves that there can be clarity in all things. So the intention was to be able to say using, because remember it's letters from Louise. So once again, I have one other poem that I went in order of the alphabet. And it's to show that you can actually, like as Kevin mentioned, you can go A through Z order and have the different types of clarity that you can have. So these are all the different types of ways that you can be clear from A to Z about everything. So it's A through Z, and it's all the different ways that you can be clear. Let me know if that answered your question. Okay. And again, that was the methodology. This was my third poem in, so I was experimenting to see, always challenging myself, even challenging myself to write a poem. But you know me, above and beyond, set and maintain high standards. Not just gonna write a poem. I'm gonna put some real leader fight on that. And that's how we got there. Again, all of the different ways that you can actually be clear. Okay, so now we're following up from yesterday. What are your 10 brilliance from yesterday? And just as a reminder, The top 6 signs that you have a brilliant mind are: you are a natural problem solver, you're never satisfied with the status quo, you have a hunger for knowledge, you're a natural innovator, you have a strong sense of empathy, and you're constantly challenging yourself. So 10 ways of your brilliance from yesterday. ... to let me know that you're thinking. They cut the grass and now my nose is itching. Yeah, conflict. It's from my environment structurally. Okay, Regina. This was a difficult assignment for me. I had to reflect upon my life, especially the last 20, and realize that I spent a lot of time being emotionally distracted and not necessarily working on brilliant, it's honest, brilliant development. Well, be honest is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And how do you feel about that, Regina? One thing that I did notice is that as long as I've been doing lives, the people that attend lives longer, their username is usually their name. Especially on YouTube now. I guess because it's connected to your Gmail. So that might have something to do with a lot. And not always, but I would say 90% of the time. You reinstalled broken blinds, disassembled and reassembled the recliner, mount 3-part. metal photo, mounted 30 pictures, figured out shelf was improper, figured out a better sport fit for NA, figured out a way to circumvent the NIL system. It's my child. Kevin has start with the end in mind. I think inclusive. I'm a believer of the impossible. I always choose me. I love a challenge. I seek solutions. I'm proactive. I listen to learn. Regina. However, I've constantly striven to develop myself despite the challenges. Have maintained a desire to continuously grow emotionally and intellectually. Okay, yes, Regina, I feel that this is an opportunity to develop my brilliance and character. 8, know how to contact top programs. 9, getting better at using AI images and doing Photoshop with them. Kevin. 9, I play to win. And 10, I'm always ready for the smoke. Right. Young people slang. And develop and neuropability for Regina. All right. And Nola, 8 months in 10 minutes, which is good for her because she eats a lot and eats slow. All right, great. So why did you do that to us, Dr. Donna? Because we don't talk about, as I mentioned, we talk about the brilliant, stupid ass minds. These supposed to be intelligent people, and like brilliance can only come. Kevin, Regina said, "What's smoke?" So unaccountable people have programmed the majority of the population to believe that they are not brilliant, as Regina indicated by just assessing it, and how you all are looking at it as well, is that for some reason, because you haven't decided to be a gazillionaire, shit on people, or be rich and famous, and still could be wealthy in a myriad of different ways, not just in money, that somehow you're not brilliant too. And you get to define, just like people get to define what is success to them, you get to define your own brilliance based upon the definition of brilliant, which is extremely intelligent, talented, or skillful. That's just the definition. So that can be anything for you. It's something that you're not necessarily wired to do, to think of your own brilliance when you have been programmed. Other people, watch other people be brilliant, and because some platform, some person, some book, something said somewhere that this person is brilliant, then somehow you aren't brilliant because where's your book? Where's your press release? But that's simply just not true. In your day-to-day life, in your community, you get to be brilliant in your own household, in your own mind, in your own life. You actually get to be brilliant. And when you recognize your brilliance, it allows you to continue to hold yourself personally accountable to get to your best, because you have the neural pathway to brilliance for you in your own life. And it's something that we don't think about, which is why I like Wired Wednesday, or what's happening in the brain Wednesday, however you want to look at it, to just take that pause once a week and reflect and learn something that you weren't aware of, like we did last week with the synapse and that. So, Kevin, are you telling Regina what smoke is? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I could define it, but it's your number 10. And while Kevin is typing that in, the real leader principle for today is to handle conflict when it occurs. So Kevin is not going to run when the conflict occurs. If you want to pop off, you can get popped back. So the back of the day, we used to say, if you're feeling froggy, leap, nothing but air and opportunity. So that kind of thing. So not backing down. All right. So handle conflict when it occurs is your real leader principle for today. Throughout your day as conflict arises, and it can even happen within yourself. So you're going to handle that conflict when it occurs. You're going to assess using the 5 which one it is, and then you're going to use the steps to handle it. So it's a little bitty match. Might turn into a lighter, potentially a burner on a gas stove, but definitely not a fire pit fire or anything bigger than that at all. All right, so what did you all learn today? I learned that there was an extended meaning to conflict, and that if you research enough, you can find what it is that you need on Google. You just have to, it's ingredients, and you just got to put it together to make the definition of conflict. Which I told people that's why I wanted to get a doctorate, so I could make up my own words. Why are you here in this program? So I can make up my own words when I'm done. And no one can refute me. What did you learn? What did you learn? What would you do? Contact bar. I don't know what that's for. I need smaller paper clips. I learned that it's important to speak about feelings in order to handle conflict. Yes, Regina, because the feelings are in the way. The feelings are in the way. So let me see. If I have, these are feelings. So if you're trying to see me and we're trying to make eye contact and this is in the way, you're going to say, Dr. Donna, and I'm saying, so yes, so basically what y'all need to do is, and step 1 in this situation is this process. This stops from what's happening because now if we're on the phone, it doesn't matter if we're telephonically speaking. But right now, this is a distraction and it's in the way. So you'd like to be able to see me, but I have this is in the way. So talking about what am I feeling, why am I feeling, moves the book out of the way, and now we can access me and what we actually need to do. So the feelings are in the way because you're in your limbic system, in your amygdala. Even if you're not aware of it, you can't get to the heart of the matter because you're still trying to fight or flight, freeze or repeat. So you don't have complete access to the frontal lobe. So logic and reason, if you're ever trying to argue or resolve anything with an irrational, emotional person, it's not working because they got to come up here. So talking about the feelings, having a solution, they're just going to take a neural pathway, get on back up here, and then they'll start using the neural pathway to handle conflict when it occurs. Kevin said, learned rudimentary, involving or limited to basic principles. I am your wordsmith, Kevin. And create a win-win solution. That's right. Because when you collaborate, everybody walks away feeling heard, number 1, and feeling like, yeah. And you get automatic, instantaneous buy-in when everybody has been heard and everybody has contributed. When you decide, oh, management is going to do something, we're not going to include the team members and we're just going to put it on the instant conflict. When everybody is there together, and then that way, when you collaborate for win-win, if it happens to show up again, they say, no. Remember when we all were at the meeting, family meeting or otherwise, we all agreed, and now you have this agreement. So everybody leaves. This is what we're getting ready to do, right? We good. Now you get to hold them accountable to that new system when that conflict happens to occur again. You just go back and say, okay, we're here, and this is our system that we use whenever this conflict arises, because it's not a one-off. All right, and Noah said, one thing you have always taught me about resolving conflict is understanding what everyone wants first. It helps to ensure the end goal is met and collaboration can happen. Exactly, and that's why you have that time where everybody just express what's happening from their perspective, how they feel. And now that's out of the way. So now the goal is to get everybody in their frontal lobe, because that's where your logic, your active thinking, your cognition, problem solving, day-to-day task, innovation, personality, the real you is sitting all right there in the frontal lobe. So if everybody's mad and angry, They're in the limbic system. They're in the amygdala. They got to hijack the amygdala. You're not solving anything because they are going to fight, flight, freeze, or peace. But the last thing they're going to do is solve. The 4Fs are not going to lead to resolving and solving the conflict. They're not interested. I'm going to win. I'm mad at you. Like Kevin said, you want to smoke? Hey, call me Smokey the Bear right now. All right? But in that instance, no. You think you pay too close attention to every word I say? No, not at all. And you're increasing your own personal lexicon, so absolutely not. I'm take them all. That's what they're there for, because your word choice matters. And the more, and Malcolm X said this: man curses because he doesn't know how to express what's on his mind because of a limited vocabulary. I know when I'm saying motherfucker, and I'm saying it on purpose. I'm choosing that word on purpose. But the more you read, the more advanced your vocabulary will become. And I've said this when I've listened to people's interviews, as if I'm researching something, I can tell how well read a person is by their word choice and not odoriferous emanations. So they throwing down fucking 16 syllable words like T.I.'s ass. That's Libras do that. I call that liberalizing you. That's not it. It's literally the choice that naturally comes out. And so instead of trying to sound smart, because you are well read, you just actually are smart and you are brilliant. That's what happens. You can't read books for 11 years consecutively and not have an advanced vocabulary. It's just not happening. Okay. So in summary, handle conflict when it occurs. When people are angry, Nola and I, we will still have conflict and get angry. We got to separate. You can have a safe word. And so you can say, yellow highlighter. Everybody knows. And I'm just because I'm looking at a yellow highlighter. Yellow highlighter. Everybody knows we're in conflict. Go calm down. Sometimes people might have to write out what's actually taking place, but you process on your own so that by the time you handle the conflict when it occurs, you've already felt your feelings and now you're just processing them. And now you're sitting with the conflict and saying, okay, well, here's what took place. Here's what I was feeling. Here's why I was feeling it. Here's what I think we need to do about it. And now the conflict is going to be resolved. You're collaborating. And again, what's the best way to handle this? You too, Regina. What's the best way to handle this conflict? And that's what you want to do. Handle it as soon as it occurs, and what's the best way to get it done. All right, that's all I have for you today. I need to take a nap. We had a very long day yesterday, and I'm extremely sleepy. And God willing, higher power in the universe, I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, same face, different t-shirt. You all go off and have a terrific day. Take care. Bye-bye.